pastimes happened so far. So this episode of Churning of Ocean of Milk, Samudra Manthan Leela, started with Parikshit Maharaj inquiries to Srila Sukdev Goswami about this Leela. And then we had seen how Durvas Muni gives his Mahagarland to Indra. Indra, being too puffed up, took the garland and disrespectfully placed it on his elephant Airavat's trunk. Being an animal, he could not understand the value of it, and so he smashed the garland under his feet. And so Durvas Muni actually cursed Indra to be poverty stricken. So, due to this curse, demigods became very weak and they got defeated in their fight with demons. So, the defeated demigods approached Lord Brahma, who induced them to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. Lord Brahma offers the prayers to Supreme Lord Vishnu. And then in sixth chapter, in response to the prayers of Brahma ji, Lord Vishnu appears before demigods. He gives his instructions and plan to demigods to make a truce with demons and along with them churn the milk ocean to produce the nectar. Then demigods approached Pali Maharaj and discussed about the proposal which he agreed. Then the demigods and demons together went to bring Mount Mandara to milk ocean, but they couldn't carry it. So Lord Vishnu appeared in Garuda and helped them. Then, chapter 7, we saw how the churning began, and a great poison named Halahal appeared as a first product, and all demigods approached Lord Shiva in Kailash for his help. Lord Shiva becomes compassionate on them and drinks the poison, which creates a blue line on his neck. So he's named Nilkant or Kalakantha. In chapter 8, which mentions about what are the different products which came out of churning, like Surabhi cow, Uchashreva horse, Airavat elephant, Kastuba jewel, Parijata tree, Apsaras, Lakshmi Devi, and so on. So Lakshmi Devi appears and accepts Lord Mukunda as her husband. Varuni appeared and demons took it. Then Lord Dhanvantri appeared with nectar pot and demons snatched it. Demigods then got disappointed, and Lord Vishnu assured the demigods uh, about the situation. And then demons quarreled among themselves for the nectar. Lord Vishnu appears in most beautiful form of Mohinī-mūrti, and in chapter 9, demons become attracted to Mohinī-mūrti form, and as a result, they give the nectar pot and request her to distribute it. Mohinī-mūrti gave all the nectar to demigods and didn't give anything to demons. Cunning demon Rahu sat in line of demigods in disguise and Mohinī-mūrti beheaded him. And in 10 and 11, we see the fierce battle happening between demigods and demons, and how finally Lord Hari, Vishnu, comes and kills the demons. And then there was a verbal fight between Indra and Bali Maharaj, and then Indra kills remaining demons. And Narad Muni stops demigods to fight, and Shukracharya brings demons back to life by Sanjeevani Vidya, which he had. So in this chapter, which is the last chapter of this Leela, you will see how Mohinī-mūrti form bewilders Lord Shiva. So we can start the reading of translations. I will share my screen. Are you able to see?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, I think
You may have to
the.
stop sharing this PowerPoint and then share. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, Prabhu.
So there are 47 verses. We can have five devotees each reciting 10 verses, and the last one can have 7 verses. So can someone please recite? Yes, Sundari Saki Mataji, please go ahead.
I'm doing 1 to 10, right?
Yeah, you can do 1 to 10.
Okay. Sukdev Goswami's. Can I begin?
Yeah.
Okay. Sukdev Goswami said the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, in the form of a woman, captivated the demons and enabled the demigods to drink the nectar. After hearing of these pastimes, Lord Shiva, who is carried by a bull, went to the place where Madhusudana, the Lord, resides. Accompanied by his wife Uma and surrounded by his companions, the ghosts, Lord Shiva went there to see the Lord's form as a woman. The Supreme Personality of Godhead welcomed Lord Shiva and Uma with great respect, and after being seated comfortably, Lord Shiva duly worshipped the Lord and smilingly spoke as follows. Lord Mahadev said, O chief demigod among the demigods, O all pervading Lord, Master of the universe, by your energy you are transformed into the creation. You are the root and efficient cause of everything. You are not material. Indeed, you are the super soul or supreme living force of everything. Therefore, you are Parmeshwar, the supreme controller of all controllers. The manifest, the unmanifest, false ego, and the beginning, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation all come from you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because you are the absolute truth, the Supreme Absolute Spirit Soul, the Supreme Brahman, such changes as birth, death, and sustenance do not exist in you. Pure devotees or great saintly persons who desire to achieve the highest goal in life and who are completely free from all material desires for sense gratification engage constantly in the transcendental service of your lotus feet. My Lord, you are the supreme Brahman, complete in everything. Being completely spiritual, you are eternal, free from the material modes of nature, and full of transcendental bliss. Indeed, for you there is no question of lamentation. Since you are the supreme cause, the cause of all causes, nothing can exist without you. Yet we are different from you in a relationship of cause and effect, for in one sense the cause and effect are different. You are the original cause of creation, manifestation, and annihilation, and you bestow benedictions upon all living entities. Everyone depends upon you for the results of his activities, but you are always independent. My Lord, your Lordship alone is the cause and the effect. Therefore, although you appear to be two, you are the absolute one. As there is no difference between the gold of a golden ornament and the gold in a mine, there is no difference between cause and effect. Both of them are the same. Only because of ignorance do people concoct differences and dualities. You are free from material contamination, and since the entire cosmos is caused by you and cannot exist without you, it is an effect of your transcendental qualities. Thus, the conception that Brahman is true and the world is false cannot be maintained. Those who are known as the impersonalist Vedantists regard you as the impersonal Brahman. Others, known as the Mimamsaka philosophers, regard you as religion. The Sankhya philosophers regard you as a transcendental person who is beyond Prakriti and Purusha and who is the controller of even the demigods. The followers of the codes of devotional service, known as the Pancharatras, regard you as being endowed with 9 different potencies. And the Patanjali philosophers, the followers of Patanjali Muni, regard you as the supreme independent personality of Godhead who has no equal or superior. O my Lord, I, who am considered to be the best of the demigods, and Lord Brahma, and the great rishis, headed by Marichi, are born of the mood of goodness. Nonetheless, we are bewildered by your illusory energy and cannot understand what this creation is. Aside from us, what is to be said of others, like the demons and human beings? who are in the base modes of material nature, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. How will they know you?
My Lord, you are the supreme knowledge personified. You know everything about this creation and its beginning, maintenance, and annihilation. And you know all the endeavors made by the living entities by which they are either implicated in this material world or liberated from it. As the air enters the vast sky and also enters the bodies of all moving and non moving entities, you are present everywhere, and therefore you are the knower of all. My Lord, I have seen all kinds of incarnations you have exhibited by your transcendental qualities. And now that you have appeared as a beautiful young woman, I wish to see that form of your Lordship. Uh, my Lord, we have come here desiring to see the form of your Lordship, which you showed to the demons to captivate them completely and in this way enable the demigods to drink nectar. I am very eager to see that form. Sukadeva Goswami said, when Lord Vishnu was thus requested by Lord Shiva, who carries a trident in his hand, he smiled with gravity and replied to Lord Shiva as follows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, when the demons took away the jug of nectar, I assumed the form of a beautiful woman to bewilder them by directly cheating them and thus to act in the interest of the demigods. O best of the demigods, I shall now show you my form that is very much appreciated by those who are lusty. Since you want to see that form, I shall reveal it in your presence. Sukadeva Goswami continued. After speaking in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, immediately disappeared, and Lord Shiva remained there with Uma, looking for him all around with moving eyes. Thereafter, in a nice forest nearby, full of trees with reddish pink leaves and varieties of flowers, Lord Shiva saw a beautiful woman playing with a ball. Her hips were covered with a shining sari and ornamented with a belt. Because the ball was falling down and bouncing up, as she played with it, her breasts trembled, and because of the weight of those breasts and her heavy flower garlands, her waist appeared to be all but breaking at every step, as her two soft feet, which were reddish like coral, moved here and there. The woman's face was decorated by broad, beautiful, restless eyes, which moved as the ball bounced here and there from her hand. The two brilliant earrings on her ears decorated her shining cheeks like bluish reflections, and the hair scattered on her face made her even more beautiful to see.
As she played with the ball, the sari covering her body became loose and her hair scattered. She tried to bind her hair with her beautiful left hand, and at the same time, she played with the ball by striking it with her right hand. This was so attractive that the Supreme Lord, by his internal potency, in this way captivated everyone. While Lord Shiva observed the beautiful woman playing with the ball, she sometimes glanced at him and slightly smiled in bashfulness. As he looked at the beautiful woman and she watched him, he forgot both himself and Uma, his most beautiful wife, as well as his associates nearby. When the ball leaped from her hand and fell at a distance, the woman began to follow it. But as Lord Shiva observed these activities, a breeze suddenly blew away the fine dress and belt that covered her. Thus, Lord Shiva saw the woman, every part of whose body was beautifully formed, and the beautiful woman also looked at him. Therefore, thinking that she was attracted to him, Lord Shiva became very much attracted to her. Lord Shiva, his good sense taken away by the woman by the woman because of lusty desires to enjoy with her, became so mad for her that even in the presence of Bhavani, he did not hesitate to approach her. The beautiful woman was already naked, and when she saw Lord Shiva coming towards her, she became extremely bashful. Thus, she kept smiling, but she hid herself among the trees and did not stand in one place. His senses being agitated, Lord Shiva, victimized by lusty desires, began to follow her, just as the lusty elephant follows the she elephant. After following her with great speed, Lord Shiva caught her by the braid of her hair and dragged her near him. Although she was unwilling, he embraced her with his arms. Being embraced by Lord Shiva like a female elephant embraced by a male, the woman, whose hair was scattered, swirled like a snake. O king, this woman, who had large, high hips, was the woman of Yoga Maya, presented by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She released herself somehow or other from the fond embrace of Lord Shiva's arms and ran away.
Anyone else wants to
I can
read?
read, Prabhu.
Sure,
As
Mantha.
if harassed by an enemy in the form of lusty desires, Lord Shiva followed the path of Lord Vishnu, who acts very wonderfully and who had taken the form of Mohini. Just as a maddened bull elephant follows a female elephant who is able to conceive pregnancy, Lord Shiva followed the beautiful woman and discharged semen, even though his discharge of semen never goes in vain. O king, wheresoever on the surface of the globe fell the semen of the great personality of Lord Shiva, mines of gold and silver later appeared. Following Mohini, Lord Shiva went everywhere, near the shores of the rivers and lakes, near the mountains, near the forests, near the gardens, and wherever there lived great sages. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of kings, when Lord Shiva had fully discharged semen, he could see how he himself had been victimized by the illusion created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, he restrained himself from any further Maya. Thus, Lord Shiva could understand his position and that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has unlimited potencies. Having reached this understanding, he was not at all surprised by the wonderful way Lord Vishnu had acted upon him. Seeing Lord Shiva unagitated and unashamed, Lord Vishnu Madhusudana was very pleased. Thus, he resumed his original form and spoke as follows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O best of the demigods, although you have been amply harassed because of my potency in assuming the form of a woman, you are established in your position. Therefore, may all good fortune be upon you. My dear Lord Shambhu, who was within this material world, but you can surpass my illusory who within this material world, but you can surpass my illusory energy? People are generally attached to sense enjoyment and conquered by its influence. Indeed, the influence of material nature is very difficult for them to surmount. The material and external energy, Maya, who cooperates with me in creation and who is manifested in the three modes of nature, will not be able to bewilder you any longer. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else wants to read? Else,
I'll read, Prabhu.
Okay, sure. Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, having thus been praised by the Supreme Personality, who bears the mark of Srivatsa on his chest, Lord Shiva circumambulated him. Then, after taking permission from him, Lord Shiva returned to his abode, Kailasa, along with his associates. O descendant of Bharat Maharaj, Lord Shiva, in jubilation, then addressed his wife, Bhavani, who is accepted by all authorities as the potency of Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva said, O goddess, you have now seen the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the unborn master of everyone. Although I am one of the principal expansions of his lordship, even I was illusioned by his energy. What is then to be said of others who are fully dependent on Maya? When I finished performing mystic yoga for 1,000 years, you asked me upon whom I was meditating. Now here is that Supreme Person to whom time has, sorry, now here is that Supreme Person to whom time has no entrance and who the Vedas cannot understand. Sukadev Goswami said, "My dear king, the person who bore the great mountain on his back for the churning of the ocean of milk is the same personality of Godhead known as Saranga, Dhanva. I have now described to you his prowess. The endeavor of one who constantly hears or describes this narration of the churning of the ocean of milk will never be fruitless. Indeed, chanting the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only means to annihilate all sufferings in this material world. Assuming the form of a young woman and thus bewildering the demons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead distributed to his devotees, the demigods, the nectar produced from the churning of the milk ocean. Unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always fulfills the desires of his devotees, I offer my respectful obeisances. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees, for reading the translations of this chapter. I will now share Mangala Charan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमामि विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वंदे हम श्रीगुरु श्रीयुता पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहागना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहागण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे नाम हरे नामेव केवलं खलु नस्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कथार अजूव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवो भिन्नेदस्तं सर्वभूता हृदयं मुनिम् अनतोऽस्मि। यस्वानुभावम् अखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितीर्षतं तमोऽन्धं संसारिणां करुणाया पुराणगुह्यं तं व्यासा सुनम् उपयामि गुरुमुनीनाम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृद्यन्तस्त्वभद्राणि विदुनोति सुरोत्सतं। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Just share my slides. Haribol devotees, are you able to see my slide?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So this chapter is about Mohinī-mūrti's Lord Vishnu's Mohinī-mūrti form, which bewilders Lord Shiva. And this is categorized into three parts. I followed Bhagavad Subodhini by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. So these three, it has been divided into three sections, verse 1 to 13. Sorry, I would like to request blessings from all the devotees so that I can speak in Guru Parampara, and especially senior devotees, Gaur Kumar Prabhu and Nitya Kishori Mataji. Please give your blessings. So verse 1 to 13 is tells about Lord Shiva's prayers to Lord Madhusudan, and 14 to 34 mentions about Lord Vishnu as Mohinī-mūrti, which bewilders Lord Shiva. 35 to 47 talks about Lord Shiva's exalted consciousness, and last few verses talks about Shukdev Goswami. Actually, Shukdev Goswami concludes, and last few verses are about the Falashruti. So, hearing the pastimes of this Mohinī-mūrti and desiring to see that form, Lord Shiva, along with his consort Parvati Devi, Uma, and other associates, they went to abode of Lord Madhusudan, and after being welcomed by the Lord, uh, sorry, after being welcomed by Lord, Shiva worshipped him and offered him prayers. So there are basically six prayers, eight prayers with two including qualities of pure devotees and understanding of different philosophers. So the first prayer which Lord Shiva offered was of being Lord Vishnu being supreme controller, Parameshwar. So as we know, Krishna expands as the Purusha as three Purusha incarnations, Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma, with each uh, in charge of Sattvagun, Tamogun, and Rajogun, respectively. And Lord Vishnu is actually stated as Deva Deva in this in the purport. Srila Prabhupada explains this points very nicely. That the Deva Deva means he's chief of all demigods. He is Jagadvyapi. He is all pervading, which is actually also one of the meanings of name Vishnu. He is Jagadish. He is master of the universe, and he is both the controller of both material and spiritual world. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Mayadhikshana Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam." So, under Krishna's guidance, material energy works, and he is control of both spiritual and material worlds. Everything in existence actually works in proper order because of Vishnu, Krishna. Like Lord Brahma prays in Brahma Samhita, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham. So he expands in every atom of universe, Paramanu, every atom, and which brings about the proper order of all the creation. Lord Shiva is also called Maheshwar, but he addresses Vishnu as Jagadish. He is called Vishweshwara, but he addresses Vishnu as Jaganmaya. So, which actually means Lord Shiva is also under control of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Brahma and Shiva both are called Ishwaras, but Lord Vishnu is Supreme Ishwara. Like in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma prays Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So this is for the Supreme Controller. The next is Supreme Inexhaustible, Avyaya. So, like in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. So everything emanates from Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like 8 elements of cosmic manifestation, like earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. They actually consist of his energies. In verse 7.4, Bhumir Apurnalavayu, Kham Mano Buddhir Evacha, Ahankara Itiyam Me, Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada. So Krishna remains complete, even though these ingredients, these 8 ingredients of cosmic manifestation come from him. And that is the reference is the Ishopanishad invocation mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So he remains complete even though these ingredients come from him. So I was just thinking, like, this is a spiritual mathematics. In material mathematics, we can say 100 minus 10 is 90, but spiritual mathematics, 100 minus 10 is still 100. So, and also there is one more point mentioned about Lord Vishnu, that he is Aham Adirhi Devanam. He is the original cause of all devas or demigods. And because he is Avyaya, he is the absolute truth, the fully spiritual Brahman. So, as Lord Shiva wanted to glorify Lord Vishnu as supremely independent, that he doesn't actually depend on anyone to fulfill his desires. Even his devotees are also free from material desires. So he was actually he glorified the devotees first. He mentioned about the 4 qualities of pure devotees, Munaya, that they engage. First quality is they engage constantly in transcendental loving service of the Lord, of Krishna's lotus feet. Second, they desire to achieve the highest goal in life, the bhakti, which is ultimate auspiciousness. So, actually, devotees are only interested in moksha, and also the main real meaning of moksha or mukti is taking shelter of lotus feet of Krishna and not becoming one with him, like Mayavadis say. So in this aspect, Srila Prabhupada gave one example of interaction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya regarding the famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 10.14.8. Tate nukampam susumikshmana bhunjana evatmata krita vipakam radvagvapurbhir vidadan namaste jive tayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. So, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya wanted to replace this Mukti Pade with Bhakti Pade, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually told him that it's to keep it a Mukti Pade, and told him the real meaning of Mukti is actually taking shelter of lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So third quality is completely free from all material desires for sense gratification. Like the famous verse we hear from Nectar of Devotion, also quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. So devotees render transcendental loving service to Supreme Lord Krishna favorably, anukul, and without desire for material profit, karmadi, gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation, gyan. So this is the highest level of devotional service, pure devotional service. And the fourth quality of pure devotees is they give up material attachments in this in this and next life, because they take shelter of Krishna, they are attached to Krishna, so that way they are able to give up the material attachments. And pure devotees are also called Shreyas Kama. which means they are freed from dualities of material desire. They are not concerned with dharma, artha, and kam, purusharthas, the four purusharthas. Uh, um, mm, but they are only interested in moksha, and that to the highest understanding of moksha, taking shelter of lotus feet of the Lord. So we have seen just as devotees are free from desires, the Supreme Lord is also completely free from desires and is not dependent on anyone's service. So which connects to the fourth prayer of being supremely independent. So everything like Krishna says, everything is so Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Everything expands from him, but he is the supreme Brahman, yet the supreme person is differently situated from everything. He is everything through his energies. Like Bhagavad Gita 9.4 says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktena murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avistita. So this is the principle of Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneously oneness and difference. Uh, because the Lord is differently situated from everything, He is Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Cause and Controller, like Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. So, like devotees are free from desire, Supreme Lord is also completely free from desires and not dependent on anyone's service. So this is about the supremely independent prayer. About Supreme Absolute, he's Krishna alone. The cause and effect are same. Like in translation, the example is given as that of gold ornament and gold in the mine. They are non-different. So we can understand from that like how Krishna is alone is the cause and effect. And but the different next is the different philosophers' understanding. So there is not much details given. I've just mentioned the different philosophers' understanding of Supreme Lord in this verse, which comes from the translation. That how Vedantists see Lord as impersonal Brahman, how Mimamsaka philosophers see as religion or dharma, Sankhya philosophers, transcendental person beyond Prakriti, Purusha, and the controller of demigods. Pancharatra followers, person endowed with Navashaktis like Vimala, etc. Patanjala philosophers regard Krishna as supreme independent Lord with no equal or superior. Next is supreme unknowable. So neither um, beings like Lord Shiva or Brahma who are born of mode of goodness can actually know Krishna. Their minds are bewildered by Maya. So it's not so even the beings like Lord Shiva and Brahma cannot understand Krishna. It is not possible for demons and human beings who are in mode of passion or ignorance to know Krishna. And the last prayer of being supreme knower, he Krishna knows everything about his creation, beginnings, maintenance, annihilation, and he's present everywhere and in everything. So he's that way he's knower of all. So after praying to Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva says to him that he has seen all kinds of incarnations and he exhibited with transcendental qualities. He now desires to see this particular form of Mohinī-mūrti incarnation, which he had assumed to distribute nectar from churning of ocean of milk. So so Lord Shiva, along with his wife Bhavani and other associates, they came to see the form of Lord, and Lord Shiva is very, very eager to see that form. So this brings us to the next slide of that like we saw Lord Shiva had a desire to see Vishnu's form in this particular incarnation. So is this desire spiritual or material? So I think I mean, it is very clear from this discussion that it was uh, the Lord Shiva's desire is purely spiritual, to take the darshan of Lord, and he is not an ordinary personality. He is very, very exalted. He has a very, very exalted position. He is one of the guna avatars of Krishna, Purusha incarnations. Sorry, guna avatars taking charge of mode of ignorance. And he is best among demigods and Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He is husband of Durga Maya, Maya Devi, external potency of the Supreme Lord. So his desire was purely spiritual in this case. So, as we are talking about desires, so I got this few pointers from the lectures of Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He described this very beautifully, brought many beautiful examples and explanation of the situation. About when we are talking about desires, we should only desire as per our capacity. And any action can have many causes. It's not one or a particular cause for any action. It can have many causes, and any action we generally take is either done either due to responsibility or desire. So responsibility can align with our desire sometimes, but other times it may not. Like if we are doing a job which we don't like that much, but we still need to do it as a responsibility towards oneself or our family, etc. So, so there are two causes of action. One is disposition, one is situation. So both actually motivates any action we do. Disposition refers to it's more an internal state of mind. It refers to a natural emotional state or attitude or tendency to act in a certain way. It's more internal. For example, someone with a disposition to quarrel is more likely to have argument with others. And the situation means the external environment, how the external environment can influence us. It means, in simple word, it means external environment, but it also means like responsibilities, uh, that is compelling us to feel and act in a certain way. So both disposition and situation keep on changing. They are very dynamic. They are never, we cannot say they are always same or stable. They keep on changing. So they can uh, they can be different at beginning of action, different during the action, and completely different during completely different at the end of action. So we can have look at some examples now. So can anyone guess which pastime is this or which personality is this?
Ajamila.
Yes. So this is a story of Ajamil, that he was a great Brahmin and went into forest to collect wood. This was his mind in a disposition that his father told him to get some wood from forest, and as soon as he was exposed to external situation, he got consumed in it and started contemplating over it, and this is how his mind changed. And after, so we can see how the external situation completely changed his mind. Initially, he had a pure desire, and his mind desire changed and caused him not to act in a Brahminical way. So his after seeing the external situation, his lusty desire increased so much that he even he forgot his responsibility and his dharma, that what he came for. So it is not necessary that if we have pure desire, then we can go in any situation, come back with the same pure desire. Everybody has their own capacity. And in this case, association and Lord's grace also play a big role in this. So this is the next example. Can anyone guess? I think it should be easy. Okay, so this is Sugriva. So Sugriva has promised Lord Ram that he will get his kingdom back. If he gets his kingdom back, he will help Lord Ram in searching for Mother Sita. So he got his kingdom, but after that it started raining very heavily for 4 months, and he became very lazy and desired to gratify his senses. He actually forgot his original pure desire or promise given to Lord Ram. So even after the rains were over, he was still busy in sense gratification. And it was Lakshman who, in anger, reminded him of his responsibility, and Sugriv came back to his senses. So we can see in this case how good association can restore someone's original pure disposition. Next example is of Hanuman, in search of Sita in Ravana's palace in Lanka. He sees how Ravana was asleep in his room and starts searching Sita, who is female. In all the rooms where females or queens were sleeping. Logically, it was correct, but many females he got to see were not even properly dressed at night. But he immediately felt that he was wrong and should not be here. He remembers that he is in actually search for Sita, and that was his purpose. He had a very, very strong purpose and intention. So he continued his search, and his mind did not become unstable. Uh, External situation did not change his disposition in this case. So he continued his work for Lord's Seva. So in this case, we can see there is a third thing also in the picture called purpose or intention. That mm in case of Hanuman, that he had a very strong purpose and which was not affected by disposition and external situation. So, so if purpose is strong, then disposition and situation can be controlled. But if we forget our purpose, then we are exposed to the dynamic nature of the disposition and situation, which ultimately leads to suffering. So, so there are three examples which we discussed about Ajamil, who did not listen to anyone, and it took him almost a lifetime when he was on his deathbed to realize his forgotten purpose. Sugriva took almost 4 months to realize his promise given to Lord Ram. Here, good association of Lakshman helped him. And in case of Hanuman, we see there was no forgetfulness of purpose at all. It all depends on capacity of the person, good association, and grace of the Lord who guides from within. So with that, I have a first discussion theme with two questions, two categories. When have you forgotten your purpose? How that has affected your situation? And the other side of it being, when have you remembered your purpose and how that has affected your situation? So, if devotees can share their reflections. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. So, when have you forgotten your purpose? I think this usually happens with me when I chant, and like let's say it starts with, okay, let me just watch. Oh, I got that YouTube notification that this particular channel has gone live. Let me see what's going on, and then I check that. And then the mala is going on, the chanting is going on in one hand. Hare Krishna mantra is also being chanted. It's going in the ears, but the mind then from that one reel it goes to 10 other reels, and like that just gets sucked into it. At least happens with me. I have observed this. So how has that affected my situation? Well, the chanting becomes very dry. It becomes very monotonous and inattentive, and then what happens is uh, I kind of realize, then I go into the second stage, where the second question that you're asking. So when I hear of these, the more I hear about the importance of the holy name, how the holy name is non-different than the Lord, then it keeps reminding me. So like, for one thing that has really helped me is that um, so I don't know who this devotee, which devotee from whom I heard this, but they were saying that if you're, let's say you invite someone home, invite a guest home, for example, a very close friend home, and then you're trying to have a conversation with the friend, and the friend is trying to have a conversation with you, and you're just busy doing other things. You're busy doing something, you're busy going here, going there. So that is exactly what it is when we chant, and at the same time, we phones are a big distraction these days. So look at phones or any other thing. So then that sorts of it is like a kick to my head, and then I get back to chanting with focus. But then it's not that once I remember it remains like that. I keep going back and forth, going back and forth. So yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Very, very nice, very beautiful, very practical also. Anyone else? Okay, I can move on to next slide. So the next one is actually related to the previous one, that how do we strengthen our purpose? So maybe if someone can reflect.
I can go again here, Prabhu. This is something that we were talking today during Bhagavatam class, since it's Advaita Acharya's appearance day, right? So we were discussing. So the point came about being sincere and being serious. So Prabhupada has often said this, and Vrajvihari Prabhu was speaking this morning. He quoted Prabhupada on many occasions, where Prabhupada said, "You should be sincere and you should be serious. You should be sincere and you should be serious." And one thing that one question that came to my mind is, it's easy to be sincere and serious when you have struggled to get something. Like if we have really struggled, like for example, we have struggled to get the job that we have. That is why we'll be very serious in doing that job, right? But when it comes to bhakti, at least I can say this for myself, that I didn't have to struggle really. Like when I said, okay, I want to chant, then there are 10 devotees waiting to welcome me with open arms. Oh, you're ready to chant. That's very nice. And oh, you're ready to come for Aarti is very nice, nice, nice. Come, come, come. Oh, you're ready to take prasadam. Please come, come, come. So it's all as if given to us in a platter, right? But then because of that, what happens is, because I've received bhakti easily, uh, there is I tend to forget the rarity of it. I tend to forget the sudurlabha aspect of bhakti, how rare bhakti actually is. So one thing, so coming back to your question, sorry about the whole Puranic knowledge that I gave. But coming back to your question, one of the ways we can strengthen our purpose is, I guess, to keep reminding ourselves of the importance of what we've received. So the importance of what we have been given, the purpose that we've been given. If we keep reminding ourselves, then that does help a lot to kind of strengthen our purpose. So yeah, and that comes by maybe hearing, associating with devotees, and even associating with devotees has to be done carefully, because associating with devotees with whom our frequencies don't match, even though the truths that may be communicated would be timeless, but because those frequencies don't match, the same truth won't impact everyone in the same way, right? Unless that devotee is like a really elevated soul. So like Prabhupada, right? So his message impacted so many people, but that may not be the case with someone else. So even when we associate with devotees, there is a sajati ashaya, sajati and sa ashaya. Sajati is similar nature, sa ashaya is we aspire for similar things from our practice of bhakti. When we associate with devotees with whom these two things match, it becomes easier. The transmission of knowledge and the subsequent transformation of heart becomes more seamless. So that is one way. Yeah. Yeah, these are some couple of ways, keeping reminding ourselves about the importance and good association. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice, very deep points. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll move forward. So coming back to Lord Shiva's story, so now we saw about the disposition, situation, and purpose as the causes of action. That we'll see how Lord Shiva is not affected by the disposition or situation. He is actually divine. So his intention and disposition was actually to take the darshan of Lord. He was very eager. So in this case, he was not affected by it. His intention and disposition was very strong. Now going to the next part of the pastime. We saw that how Lord Shiva approached Lord Vishnu for seeing the Mohinī-mūrti incarnation form, especially that form he wanted to see of the Supreme Lord. So he approached him, and after offering the prayers mentioned before, Lord Vishnu appeared and he smiled with gravity, and there is a special word used, prahasya bhava gambhiram. So he was actually in a very grave mood, but he smiled. That His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj mentions that our acharyas mention in commentaries about his reason behind his smile. Actually, he was thinking that Lord Shiva is actually enemy of Cupid. Once Cupid tried to invoke Lord Shiva's lusty desires in presence of Parvati Devi, but he was still not he was never agitated. Rather, the Cupid was actually burned to ashes by blazing fire which came from Lord Shiva's eyes. So so Lord Shiva, he's the enemy of Cupid, and Lord Vishnu can show his form as beautiful woman, Mohinī-mūrti form, but if he but if he drowns in the ocean in form of the lust in form of ocean and the waves of that, then even the Cupid will laugh at him. So that's the reason he was smiling. So we know that like Supreme Lord Vishnu is actually Yogeshwar. He's a Supreme Lord of all mystic powers. He had assumed the form of Mohinī-mūrti, which captivated the whole world. And now he was thinking how to captivate Lord Shiva, who is actually very, very exalted personality, and who was very self-controlled and not captivated by illusory material energy, represented by Durga Devi. Actually, she was a consort of his. So, uh, so this Lord Shiva's desire to see Lord Vishnu reveals most attractive and beautiful form of woman was actually a joking affair. Uh, this form could not even bewilder even demigods. Then what to speak of Lord Shiva, who is best of demigods. So Lord Vishnu knew that Shiva is not an ordinary personality, and he cannot be bewildered. It's not possible at all. He cannot be bewildered even by most beautiful women. So he had to think twice about what kind of beautiful form he would take to bewilder Lord Shiva. So he indicated to Lord Shiva that this form cannot produce lust in you, who is the enemy of lust. But if you are curious, then please see it. He said, this desire of yours, who are the conqueror of lust and a great yogi, will cause you to fall into whirlpool of lust. I will show his this form as woman, and if you become agitated by lusty desires, then do not blame me. So this is how Lord Vishnu tells Lord Shiva. Then just after saying this, he disappears. He disappears from the site, and Lord Shiva, along with his wife Uma, was started looking for him all around. So suddenly, Lord Shiva saw a beautiful woman, Mohinī-mūrti, in a nearby forest, playing with a ball, and she was wearing a nice sari, belt, and earrings. All the descriptions mentioned in this chapter. She was very attractive and captivating. So while in this activity, she smiled and glanced at Shiva in bashfulness, and he took it as an indication that she's also interested in him. So after captivated by her, Lord Shiva forgot about himself and Parvati as well as his associates nearby. He completely forgot about them, and he got very, very much attracted to Mohini and tried to catch her. And this all happened in presence of Parvati Devi. Somehow Mohinī-mūrti tried to release herself from embrace of Lord Shiva, and she ran away. So it is mentioned Lord Shiva, as if harassed by enemy in form of lust, followed Mohinī-mūrti, and she dragged him to many places like rivers, lakes, mountains, forests, gardens, and places where great sages lived. And these sages were actually worshippers of Lord Shiva. So we can just imagine how externally, in one way, it can be so much humiliating for a very great exalted personality like Lord Shiva, who was in such a situation. So the next part is mentions about how Lord Shiva, after running after Mohinī-mūrti, he restrained himself. At one point, he restrained himself from any further Maya when he dropped his semen, and he could see himself victimized by illusion. Uh, so he was actually not surprised by the wonderful way that Lord Vishnu has acted upon him. He could understand that his own position, what is his own position, and what is the position of Lord Vishnu, who has unlimited potencies. So in purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions about this, that few points about Krishna is all powerful, that no one can excel him in any activity. No one is equal or greater than him. Like Bhagavad Gita 7.7 says, Mata Parataram Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. He is master of everyone. Like Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions Adi Leela. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ar Sabhritya. So Krishna is only the master of everyone, including Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva was already aware of the supreme power of Lord Vishnu. When he was actually put in the bewilderment, he he felt, instead of being feeling humiliation and demotivation, he actually felt jubilant, and he felt proud to have such an exalted master and be defeated by him. So seeing this consciousness of Lord Shiva, seeing that he was not agitated and ashamed, Lord Vishnu was actually very much pleased with him. Then he assumed his original form, and that nothing is, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that like nothing is hidden from Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Shani Veshto. So everything that happened was actually under his direction. So there was no cause to be sorry or ashamed. Although Lord Shiva is never defeated by anyone, but when defeated by Lord Vishnu, he was proud that he had such an exalted and powerful master. Even after being ample so much of testing by Lord Shiva's potency as beautiful woman, Shiva was not agitated, and we can see how he was established in this position. So by seeing this, Vishnu gave all the blessings to Lord Shiva and gave all blessing in form of like all good fortunes upon him. So in this context, we can see how when devotee becomes little proud, how Krishna exhibits his power to dissipate the devotee's misunderstanding. So we should have full faith in Supreme Lord, and should never be agitated in greatest trials. But this pridelessness is only possible only for topmost devotees like Lord Shiva. So he was actually Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu is telling Lord Shiva that he is so only he can. Who else can surpass my illusory energy Maya, which is very difficult to surpass by people with uncontrolled senses and attachments. That Maya is very powerful, and it is more glorification of Lord Shiva that he is actually beyond this. So, Lord Vishnu's external energy Maya manifests in three modes, and three modes of material nature, and she cooperates with him in material creation. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam. So Lord Vishnu gives blessing to Shiva that he will not be able to bewilder. This energy will not be able to bewilder him. So after Vishnu praised Shiva, he circumambulated him and returned to his abodes with his associates. So after this, Lord Shiva addressed Parvati Devi, that she was asking. There was a case in the past when he was finishing his mystic yoga for 1,000 years. So she asked him like whom he was meditating upon. So he was actually meditating upon the Supreme Lord Krishna, and who even the Vedas cannot understand. So I think we are running out of time. Maybe I'll just take few more minutes, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu. There are a lot of many more slides after this, but still, I think I'll be quick.
Yeah,
So
I mean, cover as much as you can, Prabhu. Don't worry. We can go like five,
yeah, I think actually
10 minutes over. Yeah.
there are only 3 or 4 slides. So
Yeah, then cover them, Prabhu. Don't.
okay,
Yeah,
sure. Thank you, Prabhu. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, if we can succeed in bhakti, we can also fail in bhakti. So he gave this, but we should not fail outside of bhakti. So he gives this beautiful examples in this context that like even if taking example of fasting on Ekadashis, the ideal standard is like complete fasting. But if you're not able to do a full fast due to health issues, so that doesn't mean one may think, oh, he is a failure and he's he's like give away the bhakti itself. But it's not actually uh, that way we should be thinking it's better we can eat some prasad and practice bhakti properly. So in this case, consciousness, we can see how consciousness is more important than external activity of fasting. It's not that the devotees who are fasting are more Krishna conscious than devotees who had some prasad. So it's actually serving Krishna consciousness is actually serving and remembering the Lord and does not directly depend on the fact of external activity of eating the prasad or not. And uh, so one more example he mentions about failing outside of bhakti. Like if one devotee, for example, wants to get up in morning and chant japa, but for some reason he's not able to get up, then he gets frustrated and decides to quit chanting and goes out of bhakti. So that is a example of failing outside bhakti. uh, and So there was one more discussion point in this slide about any instances where in spite of failures, which is very frustrating, you decided to stay in bhakti, but we can keep it for devotees can reflect it later on in interest of time. So this is one example related to the previous case mentioned that Parikshit Maharaj was about this. So this is about uh, mm, the it uh, not going out of bhakti. So Parikshit Maharaj once put a dead snake around this neck of Shamik Rishi, and he was cursed by his son Shringi to be bitten by a Takshak in 7 days. So when Shamik Rishi learned of when he got to know of the curse, he was very disappointed. So he ordered his disciple Gaurmukha to go to Parikshit Maharaj and tell him everything about his death. So we can say this we can see that we learn here that after putting snake around neck of meditating sage, which is an offense, he later on realizes his mistake, but he doesn't go out of bhakti. In fact, he intensifies his bhakti by approaching Shukdev Goswami and hear Srimad Bhagavatam for remaining days of his life. So, in this context, we keep saying I'm fallen," but that should actually not be our in the center. Krishna should be in the center instead of me. And so this is the last slide where Srila Shukdev Goswami concludes about this pastime. He says to Parikshit Maharaj that how he has described the prowess of Sharanga Dhanva, Kurmadev, who bore Mandara mountain on his back. And there are two Falashrutis, the results of hearing and describing narration of Lord's qualities from this section of the Leela. That first one is one's endeavors will never be fruitless and one can annihilate all material sufferings. And the last verse mentions about obeisances to Supreme Lord, who always fulfills the desires of his devotees, uh, who is known by devotees who surrender unto his lotus feet and is not understood by atheists. So glorifying and paying obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Uh, last slide to finish this presentation. So today is very auspicious day of appearance of Srila Advaita Acharya. So I just wanted to spend 2 minutes. Um, I'll just read a quote by His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj on his appearance day. So Srila Advaita Acharya is actually incarnation of the Lord who has come in the guise of a devotee. Like in this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So he is actually a Bhakta Avataram. He is the incarnation of the Lord who has come in guise of a devotee. During his time, he was practically the only scholar in Navadvip to give right devotional conclusions to the scriptures. Today being his appearance day, we can pray at his lotus feet to bless us and accept us as a servant of his servants. By his mercy, we can get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityanand Prabhu, and then we can get the strength and ability to get the mercy of Shri Radha Krishna. So, with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for joining. Is there any questions, comments, reflections?
Hare
Can you
Krishna.
sorry, bro. You
Yeah,
go
please go ahead. Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, please go ahead.
I just wanted to see the previous slide, Nadia Kishore Prabhu, if you don't mind.
Yes, Prabhu. This one?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Gautam Prabhu. Please go ahead.
So, first of all, Nadia Kishore Prabhu, you put in a lot of effort and prepared so nicely. You heard many lectures, Radha Govind Maharaj, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and so many other devotees. And it is very, very comprehensive because you covered so many different aspects of this particular chapter. And even you went a little fast, but there's so many things about how Lord Shiva was a Dhira Purush, and he is completely sober and completely self-controlled. And the fact that you mentioned about even Parvati could not captivate Lord Shiva, and even Cupid was burnt to ashes. So all those things are elevate the position of Shiva. And this particular chapter, our acharyas explain, is actually a glorification of Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. Actually, it's not at all an embarrassment for Lord Shiva. And even the three different aspects of this chapter you brought out so well. The first aspect is how we, as conditioned souls, how we must be very careful and beware of lust. And several examples in the Bhagavatam actually repeat that. Lord Brahma and his daughter, Yayati and Devyani, Pururava and Urvashi, and even Shaubari Muni in the water while doing tapasya. So you brought that out very well. That was the first lesson of this pastime. The second one is the consciousness of Lord Shiva. So even though he falls down, he's not humiliated, but elated in glorifying the Supreme Lord. Immediately he starts glorifying the Supreme Lord. He's not embarrassed. He doesn't think of his ego. He does not put his ego ahead, but he puts Lord Vishnu ahead. So that's the second aspect of this pastime, which also so wonderfully you brought out. And finally, the third aspect is Lord Vishnu is actually very pleased by Lord Shiva. Actually, in verse 37, Lord Vishnu, it is mentioned that Lord Vishnu, Madhusudana, is very, very pleased. And even that aspect also you brought out so well. Other than that, you also brought out some practical points, how we should fall. If we fall, we should fall within bhakti, but not outside bhakti. So that was also a beautiful point, which comes out in this chapter very well. So overall, very, very well prepared, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Nadikishore Prabhu. You should give more classes and enlighten all of us. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you for encouragement. I'm very, very fortunate to mm, have this opportunity to do this seva. And I learned there's a lot of learning, but thank you very much for guidance and encouragement always. So I just wanted to add 2 points. So today's day was very auspicious because we are discussing about Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. And today is also appearance of Advaita
Yes,
Acharya, who is a
yes,
combined incarnation
combined.
of Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. So
Yes, yes,
somehow it's very auspicious today. Uh,
amazing.
so that came to my mind. And also one point which I think came, but it was a very prominent point, but I think maybe I missed to mention that Lord Vishnu knew that how Lord Shiva cannot be captivated by material potency of the Lord. So he had to manifest a Mohinī-mūrti from his internal potency, Yog Maya, to captivate Lord Shiva. So yes, Prabhu, that's the point.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else would like to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, I echo what Gaurakumar Prabhu mentioned definitely, and yeah, I mean, it was a very nicely you have heard so much, you prepared very nicely and analyzed all the concepts so nicely. For example, you went into Lord Shiva's prayers, right? I loved how you were saying at one point that Lord Shiva was being addressed as something, and then Lord Shiva was addressing the Lord as something else, even higher, right? So that exchange that you brought out was very beautiful. The other thing that you spoke about, which was very practical, was disposition and situation. What are the cause of our action, right? What are the causes of our action? And you gave a whole spectrum of examples there. You gave the example of Ajamil, you gave the example of Haridas Thakur, Sugriva, Hanuman, right? And then finally you came to that point where, what keeps us stable, what keeps us strong is the purpose. So if the purpose is strong, then you had mentioned that we won't be tossed about in the dynamics of the disposition and our situation. So that was very beautiful. And you also mentioned three things that were really very nice, but uh, yeah, so it was capacity, like the outcome of what we act, or rather the outcome, but how we remain strong in particular situations is, through our capacity, through good association and the grace of the Lord. All three things are acting. And then, yeah, and then the point that Gaur Kumar Prabhu also mentioned, if you have to fail, we can fail well. We don't have to say farewell. That was really nice. And you mentioned examples of Ekadashi and waking up in the morning to chant. So this is something I've been struggling with lately. So yeah, thank you very much. And so many amazing pictures, such nice research done to present Prabhu. Thank you so much. And yeah, beautifully concluded with Advaita Acharya and his glories. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for encouragement. Actually, a lot of Aishwarya helped me with a lot of content and the slides, so that credit goes to her also.
Yes, now that you've told that, now we'll bring her for a class soon, for Tuesday. Yeah.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Wonderful class. And I loved the class, and I also loved the summaries by Gaur Kumar Prabhu and Jagannath Gopal Prabhu. That got us to enjoy the class once again with their summary. And thank you for concluding with Srila Advaita Acharya and his glories. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, I am in great awe, after attending this class. So much wonderful points that came throughout this session, and very nicely, Gautama Prabhu has summarized all the points. I especially liked the one that CCP Chaitanya Charan Prabhu always uses a pendulum approach to establish a balanced way of looking at things in terms of purpose, disposition, and our how to balance those two into our situation. So it was really, really wonderful. And yeah, I also wish that, this class could really be a little bit more extended to cover all the, points that you've nicely mentioned, and about the purpose. How do we, how do we know our purpose? How do we stick to it? And so forth. So yeah, yeah. It was a lot of wonderful nuggets to take away for me. Thank you so much for a well prepared and well conducted class. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. It means a lot. Thank you. It's I mean, it's nothing mine. I just tried little bit. I was actually quite nervous also. But I hope and pray I can do this seva more nicely going forward.
And what I feel very appreciative is you were not feeling very well, and I know how much effort it takes to still push on and do, especially preaching sevas when you're not feeling well. So, but thank you for that, Prabhu. Thank you for pushing on and doing this despite everything. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. I learned from devotees like you. You are actually my seniors.
Oh, no, no,
Learning a lot of things from you.
no. Peers, Prabhu, peers. Junior, actually, I am your junior. So, yeah. Anyway, just one last thing. Uh, uh, I put that picture in the chat. Maybe I'll put it in the Life of Devotion group also. So just wanted to thank all the devotees. I have Soham Prabhu with me over here. So Soham Prabhu did one chapter here. Sundari Saki Mataji did one chapter. Nadia Kishore Prabhu beautifully concluded the section, and I put my pictures every time because I know devotees will ask me, "Arey tumhara kyun nahi dala? You also did na." So then that's why I put my picture here. But yeah, I'm grateful to all of you and grateful to the Lord and all the senior Vaishnavas from whom we hear everything, and we present in these classes. So yeah, thank you very much, dear devotees. That's all I had. Okay.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, everyone.
वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
Jai
हरे कृष्णा। हरि बोल डिवोटीज।
Hare Krishna.